Happy Women's History Month. How you doing? What's going on? This is Press X Start Podcast, Season 6, Episode 10. Press X to Start Podcast is an audio and video podcast seeking to transform video game media landscape through an underserved, protected point of view. I am your host, DJ, a.k.a. Sexy Bad Choices, a.k.a. Do You Know Who Brittany N. Morris is?
No, but I know who Brittany Renner is.
We all know who Brittany Renner is. Brittany N. Morris is a novelist and game narrative designer. As a narrative designer, she has worked on the survival game Subnautica Below Zero. I think we all know that game.
Oh,
Yeah. And was recently
I,
hired by
I didn't. I
Insomniac.
didn't. I didn't know who Brittany Renner was, so I was just looking around.
Well, she was recently hired by Insomniac to work on the upcoming game Spider-Man 2. Now you know when this article was written. Her role as a writer on Spider-Man 2 will allow her to draw from previous Spider-Man related work project, the Miles Morales game prequel novel Wings of Fury. I'm not. Do you know what that is, Avery? Wings of Fury.
If it's a young adult novel that Marvel has put out, I have not touched it with a 10-foot pole, especially if it's about Miles. If I'm not reading Scott Summers' fucking fan fiction on Live Journal, I'm not reading about Miles.
All right. Well, listener and viewer, if you know what that is, let us know because we have no idea. In addition to her games writing, Morris is also the author of the young adult novel Slay, which tells the story of a black teen girl game developer battling an online troll. That's actually kind of a cool premise. It's called Slay. I wonder if it's an actual troll. I guess I'll have to figure that out. All right, that's who I am. Who is here?
I am Sean M.F. Ross.
What the MF stand for?
Black Tim's all up in your house again.
Whoa. Look at that. The MF is a warning. That's what that is. And who else is here?
Hi everyone, I'm Avery.
Wagon Dragon Williams.
Wagon Dragon.
I made a huge mistake.
Sean don't miss. All right, that is who we are. Let us jump into the next section, which is the quick hits. Avery, take it away.
Hey everyone, it's me Avery again. I'm here to do the quick hits. Turns out I've been doing pretty well. Let's be honest. There was going to be a version of this episode where I wasn't doing the quick hits. That was probably going to be in response to all the comments that we've been getting about how bad I am, how my lisp is distracting, how my voice is a bit way too high pitched for my actual face. That's neither here or there. I'm
Funny
here to do
enough, I did get a comment about that, but hey, your badge still works.
I thought I deleted all those comments, and I don't know how one got by. And I'll do better.
This is why I have no self-esteem. Anyway,
Williams said it's self-esteem.
First story is oddly enough from Yahoo Finance. This is Ben Gilbert, former Nintendo president, left GameStop's board because leadership refused to explain how they would turn the company around. So this is how you can tell that this isn't a games media website, because this is there's no definitive pronouns in this explaining what anything is talking about in this sentence, but it tells you what the story is about. Anyway, former Nintendo president Reggie Fils-Aime left GameStop's board of directors after serving barely a year. Company leaders, including former Chewy CEO Ryan Cohen, wouldn't articulate the company's strategy, he said. To me, that was not acceptable, Fils-Aime said during a panel at South by Southwest. So ultimately this is, he joined the board of directors of GameStop when they were struggling to deal with the pandemic and in the midst of the weird Wall Street bets GameStop movement that was going on in the middle of the pandemic. We were like, oh, okay, let's see where this is going. GameStop started fucking pawning NFTs, and the next thing you know, Reddy's like, I'm out.
Yep.
I'm just looking further at the story. They said during the annual shareholder meeting in June of 21, Chairman Ryan Cohen said something similar. You won't find us talking about a big game, making a bunch of lofty promises, or telegraphing our strategy to the competition. We know some people want us to lay out a whole detailed plan today, but that's not going to happen. That sounds like to me they either don't have a plan at all,
Let me say some bullshit right quick.
or they don't want their ideas
I mean,
being claimed by somebody else in the company.
as a
Oh my
brick and
God.
mortar store, I
Mhm.
think GameStop had a place, but the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic fucked up everything.
Yep.
Like, the only reason I don't go to GameStop anymore was because pandemic made it difficult for me to do it in the first
Yeah.
6 months. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just go digital, and I haven't looked back. I would love a world where I could go physical, but like in a world where I'm rich, I'm going physical and digital at the same time. But that world doesn't exist, so I'm stuck here not owning any of my games and hoping my hard drive and the internet identity that I have with PlayStation doesn't delete shit for me. Because I will tell you this, iTunes deletes your songs all the goddamn time. I will tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've had to rebuy Run the Jewels songs because they just
Really?
suddenly disappeared from my iTunes list. That was a little rant. But about GameStop, this doesn't surprise. Well, it surprises me in the context of I expected Reggie to have more of an effect on GameStop than what it appeared to seem, and this is
Yeah.
clearly just evidence that GameStop is not long for this world.
Yeah, for sure. It is a thing of like if you look at it from Reggie Fils-Aime leaves GameStop, it's like that's crazy. Why would he do that? Like what happened? And you read what happened, you're just like, oh, that makes sense. I would do the same. Like fuck.
I think
No, I'm not staying here. Where's my money?
Deep fucking value, aka Roaring Kitty, just threw it a lifeline, and they survived based off of that. That's the investors that kept on holding it, like when the stock price was at
Oh
$4 and
yeah,
then it
yeah, yeah,
shot up.
yeah. No, oh no, no,
That's
no.
really
I
what
was.
elongated GameStop's lifespan, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I
I'm
thought you were. I thought
I,
I thought that person said something about this whole Reggie Fils-Aime
Mm.
leaving. Yeah.
I'm so angry I didn't buy GameStop. Like I remember an episode of fucking PSI Love, not KFGD, where Greg Miller was
Yep.
like, this GameStop stock is looking kind of weak
Yep.
right now. I'm not an investor, but I would probably, if it wasn't in the conflict of interest, I'd probably buy some stock right now,
I said, okay, Greg.
if
Mm.
only. If only. Anyway,
Uh,
moving on to our next story. This is from IGN and Ryan Bankhurst. EA,
I know that.
Gearbox, and Microsoft signed open letter opposing Texas anti-trans bill. Okay. Following Texas Governor Abbott's order in February 2020 that called for Child Protective Services to investigate families of transgender children who receive
Completely fucked.
who are
Complete.
receiving gender-affirming health care for child abuse, 65 companies have signed a letter asking for Abbott to abandon these LGBT Q plus efforts. So this is a weird story of real world politics colliding with video games in that, as the story alludes, Texas has a really insane and beyond fucked up bill about trans rights.
Yeah.
And in a world where companies are actually having a moral backbone, they're making positive steps in the support of the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I heard about that sometime last week, and it's it's terrifying to see how far Texas I don't even want to say fallen because it's like fallen means like they were actually at a standard at some point. But it's just it's so wild to just see or just hear the steps they're taking to just go backwards. Like just to
It's not
literally go
surprising.
backwards.
Everybody
It's
wants to go back to the good old times. Why is it surprising? Hey,
I mean
Texas, not even once.
it's surprising to see. It's one thing where just like they're like, we don't really think the black people, they should be working more than us whites. But like, it's crazy to be like, nah, we're just gonna everyone that's not white male, we're just gonna affect your lives in many ways. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, good on them. And I don't think anything's going to change in Texas until they have some broad
No.
sweeping like political shifts in there. But
Well, that's gonna take for the elimination of gerrymandering and actually properly drawing district lines and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, but
That ain't gonna happen
Yeah.
for a while.
it's not going to happen for a while. So okay. Our next event. Oh wow, our next story. This is from IGN as well. From Kat Bailey, the Cat Bot. Shout out to her. Ironically, the last story is one of those things where she would be. No, I'm gonna shut up. Mark is gonna delete all of this. That's neither here or there. Let me redo this. The next story is from IGN. From Kat Bailey. EA Play Live event won't be happening this year. Now, before the story is self-explanatory in that EA has announced that they're not doing EA Play. I found out this story because I'm a Greg Miller fan. I follow him on Twitter, and he responded that funny how I did EA Play for 2 years in a row and everything was fine, and then Xavier Woods, Austin Creed does it for 1 year and it's canceled. And I'm like,
What you trying to say, Greg?
Yeah. Oh my god. Man, what? Because I saw that what Avery posted, I was just like, oh my god. And then I watched the whatever kind of funny cast they showed around that. I think it was Andy and someone else talking about it.
It was Andy and Blessing. They're like,
Yeah,
you know, he's
Craig's
saying
an
a lot of shit.
asshole.
He's an asshole, but he's not wrong.
Right, he's not wrong.
Those are true facts.
Oh.
The irony is that one they did with Xavier Woods is probably their best produced in terms of an EA Play conference.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That being said, we had this discussion in our Discord about what does this mean, and while DJ was more like questioning what are they going to do, I was like, this means that if they start releasing content, like if they're not doing EA Play, there's a chance that any EA content will have to be featured in other press conferences where it won't be buoyed by Madden and FIFA,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
which will give it.
Or they may do separate shits like little mini things like Nintendo
Direct, like a deep
Yeah,
dive on
or State of
Dragon
Plays or
Age
Treehouse.
or yeah.
I think that's the move.
God damn it, Microsoft! Trying to get me to get Game Pass.
So I see you play games, Avery. You want to try this game
What's
service?
infuriating is I'm pretty sure I still have Game Pass for the next 2 months, and it's like, oh, your PC has a month of Game Pass.
You don't want to run out, do you?
Right?
But we still got Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest returning
Yeah,
this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hopefully I get invited for another event somehow.
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
Let's get ready for 7 months of press conferences.
Hey.
Yay. Okay, so our next story, actually,
Yeah, you're right. Actually, before Avery delights you with the next story, it's not really a delightful story though.
no, we're in a dark place for a while, people.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw, so I was like, oh no. But yeah. If you are enjoying this episode, which we know you are, do the thing. Do us a solid. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And hit that notification bell. Because if you do those three things, it looks like I'm like reading something off screen. I'm just looking into my face on my laptop. I'm just looking directly in my face. But yeah, if you do those three things, you'll be looking into our faces, and then you'll be also supporting our content. So do those things because you want
We'll get
to
our swimsuit calendar once we're confirmed 5,000 followers.
because you want to support Black businesses. And although we're almost there, we're kind of there. So go ahead and just support us. Thank you. What's next, Avery?
Okay. Number 4. Strap in, everyone.
Oh dear.
This is from Kotaku. Oh wait, my computer is loading. Okay, yes. This is from Kotaku from Ethan Gotch. Report. Wow, I can't believe I Ron Burgundy that shit and read the word report. Anyway, Ori Studio accused of being oppressive sexist workplace.
Yikes.
Developers say Moon Studios, the team behind the Ori franchise, have a no bullshit policy which gave the founders license to bully and demean people. Essentially, what that meant was the founders walked to a room that said, "Hey guys, we're all equal here, and we want to show that equality by saying you can say whatever you want, and we won't fire you." Which translated to the founders being like, "We can say whatever we want, and there's no repercussions."
Pretty much. Like, Jesus. Go ahead, just continue.
Okay, so I'm gonna read an excerpt of just giving you an example of what the Moon Studio workplace was. One screen cap, and this is from Ethan Gotz's his article. So give it a click if you can. Give him a shout out. They do good work at Kotaku. Sometimes. That was an unintentional dig. They do good work. One screen cap of a work chat shared in a report shows Coral, who is one of the founders of Moon Studios, writing, "Nobody cares what you really think," followed by Mallory writing, "Lol, you're..." I'm not gonna say it. Actually, I think I can say it, but I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna show personal grit.
Just read the shit.
I'm doing the math in my head about whether I have the R word privileges. Yes, I do.
Oh.
Anyway, followed by Mahler writing, "Lol, you're retarded." Though that it's not clear who the remarks directed at, Venturebeat also reports that after one long meeting, Mahler concluded by typing, "I really need a woman."
Jesus Christ.
That's not funny.
I mean, it's funny if it's like it's three guys hanging out, but it's not funny when it's a mixed company of a group of people.
Yeah. Nah, I really don't understand. Week after week, somebody else gets exposed, and nobody's thinking, "Hey, let me just sweep through and see if any Avery is going on in my company."
No, we have more of these stories, and it's the power corrupts thing, and that these people get into positions of power, and they're like, no one can check me.
Yep.
And they're so high off the power they don't even realize that they're being an asshole up until people point out on the internet in front of billions of people, "You've been an asshole for 5 years."
Yep. It's the problem that they amass in quotation marks so much power that they just lose their self-awareness. Because if they had a shred of self-awareness, they would understand, oh, everything I'm saying is essentially being recorded, and that could get me in trouble later on.
Or if they had self-awareness, they could be like, someone probably would have gone to them and say, "Hey man, this is inappropriate," and they would have been like, "You know what? It is, and I'm gonna check that." Instead of, we have an open, we have a no holds bar policy here, guys. You can't check me on this.
Right. Horrible, just horrible.
Cringe, absolutely cringe.
Yeah.
This next one is equally as cringe and kind of sucks because I really, really like this developer. This is from GameIndustry.biz, and this is from Brandon Sinclair. Phenomena co-founder Robin Hunicke accused of creating a toxic workplace. If you don't know who Robin Hunicke is, she was one of the She came from EA working on The Sims, and then she became one of the producers of Journey. So she was part of that game's entire big boom. And then she went on to found Phenomena, who went out to make a game called Luna, and then also helped produce the Katamari Damacy creators' follow-up game, Watam. If you still need help figuring it out, and if you're a Kind of Funny fan, she's been on Games Daily.
Yikes. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Like you don't know the people's true colors, right? Unless something like this
She's just trying to show equality, guys, that women can create toxic workplaces too.
So here's a quote from the GameIndustry.biz article. She'd make comments about people's messy breakups, people's current conflicts they are having with significant others, her opinions about people's dating lives, whether she knew they were in therapy or not.
Wow.
It sucks.
Yikes. Oh my gosh. Like those string of sentences.
No, you should have kept reading the next sentence.
Nope. I'm giving you enough color.
It needs to be said. Sometimes it would be comments about people's personal appearance, how feminine they were, or if they were struggling with their sexuality. Get this chick up out of here too.
Wow. Oh, that's even. Oh man, I
Get
was
her
gonna
outta here.
say like the first like two sentences reminds me of like the worst kind of like Real Housewives of Orange County, where I always gotta say some shit because there's a camera on me and blah 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 blah. But that last one's just like, oh no, you are horrible.
Bugging.
You are horrible. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
And what really sucks is it's like, oh, this is a small indie dev team who makes good and interesting games, and like Steve Gaynor, who ruined fucking what is the studio's name? Fulbright with his own toxic antics. This is one of those things where like, hey man, it's all bad, guys. These stories gonna keep happening. The pain train keeps coming. This is from the gamer.
Jesus.
The gamer, and this is from Justin Reeve. Some From Software employees report poor pay and working conditions. From Software employees have been reporting poor wages and working conditions. The company is one of the highly regarded developers in the game industry on account of its various entries in the Dark Souls franchise. From Software has recently made Sekiro, Shadow of Die Twice, and Elden Ring, which have both been incredibly well received by critics. The reports were made by current and former employees on the popular job board called Career Connection. Some of the messages date to over a decade, suggesting that the conditions of the company have remained substantially the same year after year.
Are they just making games about their working conditions?
See, here's the thing, right? John, you got there before I did. You got there before I did. I mean, like, we're joking because, like, at this point, like, this is
Well,
really the only
what
thing we
can you
can do.
do?
Yeah, but like, this is it.
Art imitates life, man.
There's definitely like a tarnished joke in there somewhere, but I don't have the brain power to go there to get there. But like, yeah,
What's
but like on a serious note though, like this is crap, and it's
That's a
it
primarily Japanese studio, isn't it?
It's an entirely
yeah
Japanese studio.
yeah all
Okay, well that's par for the course in Japan, though.
It is.
Unfortunately,
It is.
yeah,
you
but
work a
like
20-hour day, and they're like, "You going home already?" I mean, everybody else is working 22 hours. I mean,
but like yeah, like
it's shitty, but
Like according to like the report, like the average salary in converted to dollars from yen is $29,000 a year.
right, yeah,
That's like
that's
I have a shitty job, and I'm pretty sure I make more than $29,000 a year.
yikes, man. The thing is, like,
yeah.
the way that I see like stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, it's a Japanese studio, and they don't really have the best working conditions because of
Japanese
whatever.
office culture.
Yeah, but like Elden Ring is a global property right now, and because it's a global property, there are eyes looking at it from all over the world. So they are, of course, going to be judged by people from all over the world, and that is going to affect the people working at those studios and realize, oh, I didn't realize how crappy our situation was. This does suck. Like, this is not good for us. We shouldn't have this. And it's one of those things where why it gets kind of weird because Bandai Namco is also a Japanese entity. So like
So to clarify, because I looked this up, Bandai Namco doesn't own Elden Ring. They don't own From Software. They just have a publishing deal with their
okay.
games. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if I'm correct, I'm gonna look this up to make sure I'm correct. I think Kalikawa Productions, who is a anime and manga group, owns From Software.
Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the Kalikawa Corporation, who I know from making manga, owns
Yeah.
From Software.
Oh well, then that tracks then because the anime artists and all that get paid like shit as well.
All I'm hoping
Uh-huh.
right now is for Sony to be like, oh, I think we need to reassess our what they say? We need to reassess our relationship with From
Mhm.
Software.
Oh, that's
'Cause
what
that's
Microsoft said with
yeah, that's
Activision.
exactly yeah.
This is crazy as I'm reading through it. It said there are no special treatments for pregnancy and childcare. Most female employees who are about to give birth
Bro.
are expected to leave the company. This is straight out of 3-4 decades ago. Like, what?
Like, I don't know what From Software's like evaluation currently affects Kalakawa, but like I'm looking at, I just did a short look at their equity as a company, and like maybe From Software is super expensive, but I think Sony can 100% own Kalakawa, which would make their anime interests, which have been bolstered by Funimation and Crunchyroll and
Mm,
Aniplex and all that, more solid. You never know. You never know. I'm just suggesting
not
things.
wrong. Although I think the question would be like, okay, well, is that like a monopoly on Japanese entertainment? I don't know, because it wouldn't be like a straight monopoly on. I mean, because they got Funimation and Crunchyroll, isn't that a monopoly right there?
I
I don't know.
think
I'm just throwing that word
it's
around. I don't.
weird because those two companies don't make anime.
True, that's a good point. You got a
In
point
fact,
there.
like they're just licensing anime and bringing it to America.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So sucks for From Software employees. Hopefully that
Yeah.
here's hoping that the success of Elden Ring and all the money that comes into it, everyone got a massive payday, increase in raise, and then we can hopefully this because my thing with the story is that
Trickle down
like
economics.
you never know. You never know. My thing with this story is everyone is singing the praises of Elden Ring. Everyone's talking about the successes. I haven't really heard much talk about this particular story, so I'm pretty sure it's going to get forgotten as a thing going forward.
Yeah. I just I don't want to be a pessimist here, but like I'm not really holding my breath because as the article pointed out, like these working conditions has been,
Past
apparent over
decade.
a decade ago. Yeah, and like Sekiro, got Game of the Year, so like it got notoriety. It didn't get as much notoriety as like Elden Ring, but like it was selling very well. So it's like they get the money and they do the same thing that they always do with the money, which is don't spend on the employees. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this story isn't as bad. So there's that.
We're
Depending on
climbing
how
up the shit mountain. Let's go.
the ball is going up the hill. The ball is going up the hill. This is from Video. Okay. This is from Video Games Chronicle from Andy Robinson. Insiders describe Fast and Furious exit from Xbox's Perfect Dark Studio. As much as half of the core development team have quit in the past year, the initiative management says it's the initiative management, however, says it's confident in their team. This is a
Okay.
story. This is a story
Kind
that
of feel like
broke
that ball's rolling back down the hill just a little bit.
the story in our time broke in the middle of last week, and
Hmm.
the initiative was the Xbox's premier studio. It was at least advertised or described to me because we've had some confusion on whether Xbox has described and or marketed that studio that way, or has people taking one quote and run away with it in a bad
Yeah.
direction. But it was always described to me, especially by Xbox fans, was it was going to be their answer to a Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica.
Right.
And the initiative, I want to say last year in Xbox's last press conference announced that we're making a perfect Dark game. And then I want to say late last year, it was announced that Crystal Dynamics, the Avengers team, who are also responsible for the Lara Croft games, Tomb Raider games, were also going to be working on this game. And through essentially looking at LinkedIn, journalists were able to see that half of the studio have left over the last couple of years. Half of the core team that left, and like how like you look at them, like 34 people, and and most of the job. Oh wow, 34 people have left, and according to my own mind and research, the studio was only a 60-person or so studio. Which asked me the question: how were they expected to make
Yeah.
what was the rumored quadruple A type of games with that little manpower? And like, how are they expected to make a Perfect Dark reboot with that little manpower?
With the
So
power
I
of
got some.
Unreal Engine 5.
So I got some texture to your questions, Avery. So this is coming from this information is sourced from Jeff Grubb's mouth. So if I'm wrong, he's wrong. If he's wrong, I just heard wrong information. But so essentially, his understanding from the initiative was that um they are supposed to quote unquote take the initiative to build out these triple A or quadruple A video games, and they were going to find companies that could essentially build out those games. So in this situation, they looked at Crystal Dynamics and they went with Crystal Dynamics. The reason why they went with Crystal Dynamics as from the jump was because the I think
I
the
think the former head used to work at Crystal
right,
Dynamics.
right, right.
He has since left the studio.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, that was their relationship to, like, a studio. So they went to Crystal Dynamics, and Crystal Dynamics was going to build out Perfect Dark. Um, as for the reasoning for people leaving, from what is being speculated is that the people that left were upset with the workplace culture because they felt like their ideas weren't being heard.
A lot of
Okay,
them dipped out
from
June of 2021. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the article, this is a quote. As a result, it's claimed that development has progressed painfully slow on Perfect Dark, and a solid company culture never formed, which implies to me that they were trying to make the game in house and couldn't figure out what they were doing. This is before the Perfect Crystal Dynamics stuff came in. All former employees VGC spoke to said they were surprised at how lenient Microsoft had been over the lack of progress.
Yeah.
One person said, making games is hard enough, let alone when you feel like you can't get through to the people making the decisions that affect everyone.
Yeah.
So,
So
from what it sounds like is that the creative people in charge weren't making decisions that allowed the people below them actually doing the work to make any real progress, which could either be giving them a task that's impossible or changing their minds on a week-to-week basis, requiring people to start over and recycle material.
yeah, so what was well, at least from this is all like, from what I've heard so far about this story is that like developers will come with ideas and they'd bring it to the head of development people or whatever, and they'd be like, No, we're not going to do that." Whereas the developers who brought the ideas, they were on the assumption that the initiative was going to be a place where they can all come and essentially kind of spitball ideas, but it would be more of a not of a top down development, sort of like a bottom up development where everyone comes with ideas and they kind of collaborate and build a game in that way. But the
Insert two
studio.
stupid dogs guy. Isn't that cute? But it's raw.
Well, yeah, but essentially the studio heads, they had a different approach because they wanted to make a game how they always made a game, which is people up top have ideas and they filter those ideas down through the different branches of the studio.
No, continue.
And yeah, and essentially like that became a area where a lot of people butted heads, and people left the studio because they were like, no, this is not what I signed up for. So that that is part of the reason why those people are gone. But then Crystal Dynamic came in and is now just building the game, which was supposed to be the original intent of the studio. So they're in a weird place where, like, yeah, they had people gone, but those people wasn't going to be responsible for building out the full Perfect Dark game. So
There are two schools of thoughts we can go on throughout this entire thing. Ultimately, what this ultimately means for Perfect Dark is you're not seeing this game for another couple years.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So, like, sorry, Xbox fans, Starfield is all you got to work. Starfield is all you're waiting for this year, unless Microsoft has some secret guns, some secret quadruple A guns that they're hiding. But the two, Sean.
I just want to point out that there was somebody employed there named Sean Slayback. God damn, that's an awesome name. So Fucking awesome name. Slayback.
Yeah. Oh, an interesting thing about this video games Chronicle article, is it lists the entire studio and
Yeah.
it lists every person who has left and what they came from and
Yeah,
when they left. And then the
Yeah, that's
list,
what I was like, God damn, a lot
and
of
then
people left June.
the list of new hires is like a fraction of everyone who's left. But that's not a hero there. To finish up the story, there are two schools of thought. There is the DJ school of thought, in which the initiative was always designed to be a lack of a better term, an X-Dev studio designed to farm out content to other Xbox studios, which it's not that I don't trust Jeff Grubb.
Hmm.
I just don't think that was the intention with the way
Yeah.
Microsoft talked about that studio and the way
Yeah.
the studio was really built. Because you don't
Yeah.
necessarily need a studio to do that. You, as Microsoft, just need to make deals and find people. There's no point in building a brand new studio for that.
I will say though, like, although I'm saying this, I do remember that Xbox press conference when Phil Spencer was like, and this is going to
Announcing
be the studio that is going to be making our AAA game. So it definitely did seem like, okay, well, these people are supposed to be making a physical game, not
Yeah.
like farming it out to a different studio.
Yeah.
So
And then like the list of like jobs that they have here is not like a support staff for making a studio.
right,
It's
yeah,
like an
yeah,
actual game dev team.
right,
Or there is this is always supposed to happen, and this is just a natural bit of video game turnaround. Without more reporting, which we probably won't get to a post-mortem on Perfect Dark, we won't
Yeah.
really know
right.
unless Microsoft pulls a mixer and decides one day to be like, "Hey, no more initiative."
Right. Yikes.
Which I don't think is going to happen. I think
Yeah,
they're at a point where they have way too much money to burn and don't really give a shit about. Not. I don't want to. I want to cage what I'm about to say carefully. They have way too much money to burn, and they have so many studios. I think they're in a wait and see period, and their
Mhm.
entire economic model doesn't really reward success, if that matters. No, it doesn't really punish failure, if that matters.
Yeah, right.
Because like, hey, six. If a studio comes out for 6, that's just more fodder for Game Pass. And the Game Pass, if we market it well, the Game Pass audience will play this game, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. Moving on.
Yeah. Our final story, and then we'll move on to what we've been playing. This is also from Kotaku, from once again Ethan Gotts. So shout out to him for this story. This is definitely a Kotaku who has an opinion about this a piece about this story, kind of a piece. Bethesda shows off 8 whole seconds of Starfield. That is the title of the article.
Whole seconds of
But that-
Starfield heaven.
Yeah. Bethesda has unleashed another mini salvo of teasers for its upcoming open world space RPG Starfield. Director Todd Howard and others spoke a bit about how factions, companions, and other mechanics will work in a new roundtable video, and also showed 8 whole seconds of what looks like actual Starfield gameplay, maybe. I think you have to add the caveat of maybe at the end of there.
Yeah.
Unless it gets delayed, Xbox console exclusive Starfield will be out November 11th. That said, we haven't really seen Bethesda's next game outside of last year's cinematic trailer and a bevy of concept art. Today the dam broke, and we finally got what looks like an in-game view of a friendly robot named Vasco.
And it don't look friendly. That should look like it's gonna rip you in half 3 ways till Sunday. Yeah, so this is it's one of those things where if you're excited for Starfield, you're gonna read this very differently from being like neutral on it versus being negative on it. So it's 8 seconds of this helper robot, which is the first companion that they showed off. And then they just showed a bunch of concept art and just kind of talked about like their vision for the game. So it's like, all right, cool, I guess. But they're definitely going the route of Fallout 4, where they're doing well. They're going a modified route of Fallout 4, where they're like doing these little like teasers and stuff, and they're going to show off something probably E3 time, and then drop the game November 11, 22 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, man. The thing is, it's hard for me to be critical right now at this point in time because we are almost at the end of March, and I feel like my barometer for like, oh, this game ain't gonna be good has been just bad because Pokemon Arceus was a banger. Like Stranger of Paradise is doing a lot better than I definitely thought it was going to do.
And
And it's just like
you're not the one who counterpicked it.
that's true. That's true.
I'm gonna get it.
and then I think at this point, what we really need to look at is Sean. What's your opinion on Starfield? Because obviously you know something.
Here's the thing. Y'all have to remember, I've played no Bethesda games.
That doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't look exciting to me.
Oh, okay. Yikes! It might be a.
But I
6
mean,
then.
once
Well,
again,
to
I haven't.
be fair, no one's just seen the actual game, so we can't
also
say.
true. That's also true.
Somebody's frothing at this information.
Yes,
Somebody
probably.
is.
Yeah.
I have to see more.
Yeah.
What made me want to get Elden Ring? Because I mean,
Avery, I think?
no, it wasn't that. Just that first, because I remember the first clip where they showed like the guy fighting Radon, and I was like,
Oh, it's
maybe.
spoiler for Elden Ring, which doesn't really matter because the story of Elden Ring is so esoteric. This means absolutely nothing to you. The person fighting Radon is Melania.
Okay.
Yeah, the girl, the lady with the blade arm, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She gave him the Star Scourge rot, which drove him mad and killed him.
All right, that makes sense.
I'd have to see more of Starfield before I can even say a thing.
Yeah,
I
think that's what it boils down to. For
hopefully, it's not another Outriders.
I don't think it's going to be an Outriders. I think this is me, Avery Williams, the guy who counterpicked
trash.
The guy who counterpicked this game on the Fantasy League under the impression that Bethesda A wouldn't have the stuff anymore from their last game, and B just assuming it wouldn't come out this year.
Yeah,
just assuming it wouldn't come out this year, and like I could take a mulligan on this, but I counterpicked the game, but I have always had a love-hate relationship with Bethesda games.
Yeah.
I like Eastern RPGs. I've always liked Eastern RPGs. It took me such a long time to get involved with Western RPGs. So like I played Fallout 3. That game should have been up my alley because it was in Washington D.C. and I knew all the fucking landmarks. Couldn't get out of like the first 5 hours of that game. I played Skyrim like maybe 3 to 4 times before one day I just decided, okay, if I want to enjoy this game, I have to role play this game because I find this game exceedingly boring.
Yeah.
And then Fallout 4, I was going to play Fallout 4, but like I watched a podcast and it was like, it's more Fallout 3, and I'm like, I guess I'm not playing Fallout 4. And then I saw 76 and I'm like, this actively doesn't look good. It turns out it wasn't good. So Bethesda's been taking a little bit of in my book, Bethesda's been just a straight L all the time. Like they haven't made a game. Like I've always talked about how I love Bethesda software, but I've never talked about how I like Bethesda, like their actual main game studio. I've liked what Machine Games has done and what Arcane has done. So it's one of those things where like for me, everything I'm just getting from my perception of them as a studio, I'm just getting red flags. All I'm seeing is red flags. The way they announced this game,
that makes sense though.
The way they announced this game was like a caveat after they announced 76, where they were like, "Hey guys, don't worry, because our next game is going to be Starfield, but our next game is going to be the next Elder Scrolls game." And I was like, "No, continue."
Oh no, you can go ahead and finish your thought.
No, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, and Microsoft shows off a cool trailer, and I'm your guy for like getting excited for a cool trailer that doesn't show any part of the game. But that trailer was so vague and didn't have much of an identity, especially in the world where Mass Effect exists. So I'm like, I can't tell you anything about this trailer. There's not even like a character in the trailer for me to like be like, oh, I'm excited to see this character's story. It was just like, it's a cool tone piece. But it's not like
Right.
Cyberpunk's 2077's tone piece where I remember seeing that trailer like fucking 10 years ago and being like, I don't know what the fuck this game is, but whatever
It
this
looks
trailer
great.
is, it's fucking fire. Then the game
Right.
came out, and that character in that trailer is in like one side mission in that game.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
But
if
yeah,
you want this character's backstory, rewatch that trailer.
but yeah, like yeah,
Uh,
like oh, what?
I
Yeah.
didn't finish, but the, the,
Oh,
to,
okay.
to clean this up, I'm not really excited for Starfield. This game has a lot to do to get me excited. It also has the unfortunate reality of now being an Xbox exclusive game, which means the chances of me just picking up on a lark has become even smaller. Then you can make the
Yeah.
argument, oh, but on Xbox Game Pass, you don't have to pay for it. Do not make me reiterate my feelings about Xbox Game Pass.
So yeah, like I'm pretty neutral on Starfield because one, like, yeah, it's Xbox exclusive, so unless I get Game Pass, I'm probably not gonna mess with it. But the only thing that, really has me like, okay, this game will probably hit two things. One, it's a Bethesda game, and no matter like, yeah, Fallout 76 was like, the black sheep of the family. Like it's still like people love Fallout. Like no matter how buggy the game is, people love Fallout, and I feel like they're taking, I guess they're taking their time with this game, but like for the fact that they gave the release date of 11/11/22,
Mhm.
that's a sacred thing for them.
Like for me, that says two things. Either they are on the verge of going gold really soon, and all they're going to be doing is polishing, or this game is a trash fire, and they're going to try and finish it in the last like the last month before it's developed.
Yeah, like I'm of the mind that like I think because Todd Howard, he's a pretty smart guy, right? Like I feel like they're looking at Starfield as like, hey, although we got Fallout 77 to a pretty good place, we're still looked at like pretty, I guess, negatively in terms of, man, we're supposed to release this Fallout game and it turned out to be a trash fire. So we really have to make it up to our fans. And I think for them to put this game on the Skyrim date and how big Skyrim was not only for them as a studio, but like the industry as a whole, like
It shows a lot of confidence.
I is that what?
It shows a lot of confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Like and I feel like I want to say like they are doing this. They're releasing these tidbits of this game in this way because they know that they're going to hit the release date and the game is going to be at least a very good game. And of course, I could be wrong, but like I feel like that's just going to be the case for this game.
Yeah. I'll eat
And it's one
crow,
of
and
the things.
I'll eat crow. DJ will get 20 something odd points on the fantasy list, and I'll lose all the points I've worked on. But
But yeah,
and that was our last story. There
that's
we go,
it.
guys.
All right. And now that we
welcome
are
to our Elden Ring podcast.
right. This has been our episode of Press X to Start podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to rate and review us on your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share with your friends, your relatives, your coworkers, and just the random people you see on your way to 7-Eleven. If you missed any of this, you can find all details and more on our website at pressx2start.com. Until next time, we will be talking about more game news and probably our updates in where we are in Elden Ring. You take care and you have a good day/night. Peace out.
Deuces.